things that people need, especially from CPAs and especially for people who are nonprofit, they don't want to be intimidated.
Absolutely.
You know,
you want an accountant that is approachable. You want someone that you feel like you could talk to that isn't going to talk above your head or just use jargon that you can't understand. So I do my best to always explain things in a way that the client can understand and that makes sense, because that's how I want to be treated. I really don't appreciate when I go into a professional's office and they use such big words that intimidate me. But I do my best to make the information easy to understand and even fun sometimes.
One of the things about being a specialist and as a CPA specialist, you specialize. You eliminated all these different potential income by just specializing in nonprofit, and so people can become predatory for people who are nonprofits. And so how do you address that for fees based?
That's a really good question. I do not offer a service at a level that is not affordable to my clients. It's very important to me that I offer a service that is priced fairly and at a cost that the clients can afford. This is my passion. This is what I have wanted to do since I was in college, and I knew that I was put on this earth to help ministries, churches, nonprofits, and evangelists with their accounting. Every member of the body has a place, and I have known for a long time what my place was, and that's to be on the backside, helping with the organizational side of nonprofits so that nonprofits and churches and ministers can go and do what they're called to do. So price is not a consideration. I am not at the high end of the spectrum, and I work with all my clients at whatever level they're at to provide an affordable service to them.
But I have a nonprofit. And so one of the reasons why I discuss my nonprofit is because I don't hit huge dollars, right? Just don't. But so why do I need a CPA?
The reason you would want to have a CPA in your corner is to offer a level of comfort to your parishioners, your congregation, to let them know that someone else is looking over their information and that a trained professional, someone who specializes in nonprofits and knows the laws and the ins and outs of the IRS, that person is comfortable with where the church or the ministry or the nonprofit is in their finances. So the real reason that you hire a CPA and have that person on board as a part of your team is to offer that level of comfort to those who are giving to your ministry or to the church or nonprofit. So that's the main reason. There are other compliance reasons. Sometimes the church or the nonprofit wouldn't even know what's available to them if they didn't have a CPA helping them out. Recently, there was a law passed that gives a health care credit to businesses. And on the surface, one would think, well, that's great, then a business can apply for this health care credit. But what it was not known to many, many churches and nonprofits is that this credit is also available to them. So without a CPA notifying them by May 15th last year that, hey, this is a credit that you're eligible for if you provide health insurance to your employees, there's no way that the nonprofit would have known to apply for that. It just was not publicized to the level where the average nonprofit or minister would be aware that this credit was available. So we made sure that all of our clients who were eligible to take part in this did file the return. I contacted my clients and asked them to contact anyone that they knew with a nonprofit or a ministry so that the word was out that this credit was available. It's a very lucrative credit for some people too. Saw as much as $11,000 refund, sometimes as small as $2,000. But without a CPA to tell you this, there's just not a way that a nonprofit would probably know about this credit. That's just one example. And then there's always compliance issues. Many times a church will be thinking about buying a building in the future. The first thing that a banker asks for when you walk into their office is a copy of the last 3 years' financial statements. Honestly, the last thing you want to do is say, wow, we don't have that, but we'll get to you. We'll get back with you on those financials. No, a nonprofit or a church wants to walk in with 3 years of financial statements prepared as they went along to show that they have a professional working with them and helping them with their finances. So that right there establishes a track record with a bank or a credit institution of some kind and shows that the church was thinking and planning and putting their house in order for the day that it would be time to go and seek financing for a building.
Talking about different nonprofits trying to go get bank, especially loans for buildings.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've noticed, especially here in the state of Florida, is that nonprofits don't believe they can actually show a positive on their checking. It always has to be at zero. And one of the things that bankers are looking for is what money have you set aside to repair and to replace the items that you already have to get those loans. And so then do you coach people up on how to set aside funds?
Absolutely. That's so important. And you can't decide in the year that you want to apply for credit that you can set aside money. There needs to be a track record, and there's different covenants and percentages that the bankers look at when you're applying for a loan. So that's something that you set in motion many years in advance. Sometimes, especially in this day and age when credit is a lot tighter, banks are more cautious just in general because of the foreclosures and the economy in general. So it is a tactic that we start working on well in advance of seeking credit. Again, you want to go into a loan officer with everything already set in place and be able to prove to them we've done our homework, we're working with a CPA, we know that we'll meet the debt covenant requirements and the percentages that are required and the amount of money down. So it's really something that sets the ministry or the church apart to show that you've worked with a financial expert well before you got to the stage where you're applying for credit.
Do you only work within the state of Florida, or are you available nationally? And if you are available nationally, do you take time for the people that are on the West Coast, 3 hours away, to be able to meet their needs and need to converse with you?
We do. We work with clients all across the nation. We actually find that many churches are more comfortable with working with a professional outside of their area than someone in their city. The reason is probably obvious, that they don't feel comfortable with people in their community knowing their finances and maybe talking about them. So there are times where they feel like going outside of their immediate area is a good idea and hiring a professional in another city. So we definitely have quite a few clients outside of our area, but we also are very, very delighted to service people in Orlando area too, in the state of Florida. Sometimes the church is at a place where they need someone to come in with hands-on helping out on a regular basis, and in that case you obviously want to get a local person to help, and we do that for churches locally. We can be as involved or involved only one time a year if that's the case. Just whatever the need is, we tailor our services to the need of the church. We go as far as we pay bills for some churches and some ministers, especially traveling evangelists who may not have a staff or may not be in town enough to pay their own bills and have to deal with the day-to-day activities. And then we also do yearly compilations where we look at the church's information one time a year and communicate with the pastor and the congregation if need be at that time. So we are available any time. West Coast is not an issue. Email works beautifully, and in this day and age we do a lot of technology as far as transferring files and making it very, very convenient on the client to communicate with us.
Last question I have for you is that in this video, people are only going to see you, but the name on the board is Noble and Noble. So you and your husband have been accountants for how long?
We've been accountants for 23 years.
And that's 23 years each. Is that right?
23 years each.
That's 46 years. You almost got a half a century of experience behind you.
Yes, we do. Yes.
And your team is how big?
We have a receptionist, a full-time receptionist, and a full-time staff accountant, and also an assistant who comes in during the busy times.
Thank you.